Long before the sun rises over the hills and forests, long before the lord of the castle stirs beneath warm blankets, the castle guard is already awake. The day begins not with light, but with cold. It seeps through the stone walls and crawls across the floor like an invisible fog, settling into bones and joints until sleep becomes impossible. The barracks are dark, except for a faint grey glow leaking through a narrow slit window. The air smells of damp straw, old leather, smoke, and unwashed bodies. Men lie scattered across the floor on thin piles of hay, wrapped in coarse wool blankets that do little to trap warmth. Someone coughs violently in the corner. Another man mutters in his sleep. A rat scratches somewhere near the wall. This is not a place of comfort. It is a place of survival. The guard opens his eyes slowly, already sore from the day before. His back aches from the hard floor, and his neck is stiff from using a rolled cloak as a pillow. For a moment, he simply stares at the ceiling beams above him, gathering the strength to stand. Outside, the world is silent, but he knows that silence never lasts long. A rough voice soon cuts through the darkness, the sergeant calling the men to their feet. There is no gentle waking, no time to stretch. Orders come first. Comfort never does. Around him, the other guards rise with heavy movements, rubbing their eyes, pulling on their boots, tightening belts. No one complains out loud. Complaints change nothing. He dresses in the same clothes he wore yesterday, a faded wool tunic, rough hose, and a leather belt cracked from years of use. The fabric smells faintly of sweat because washing is rare. Water must be carried bucket by bucket from the well, and every drop is precious for cooking or drinking. Clean clothes are a luxury for nobles, not guards. His boots are stiff and cold as he forces his feet inside. The leather rubs against old blisters that never fully heal. By the time he stands, he already feels tired, and the sun has not even risen. When he steps outside into the courtyard, the cold air hits him like a slap. His breath fogs in front of his face. The castle looms above him, huge and silent, its towers fading into the morning mist. From the kitchens comes the smell of baking bread and burning wood as servants begin their work. Somewhere a dog barks. Chickens cluck restlessly in their pens. The day is waking, and the guard must be ready before everyone else, because danger rarely announces itself politely. He walks to the weapon rack and collects his gear piece by piece. A spear with a slightly bent tip, a short sword with a handle worn smooth by countless hands, a wooden shield patched where old arrows once struck, a dented iron helmet lined with rough cloth. None of it shines. None of it looks heroic. This is not the polished armour of knights from songs and stories. Castle guards are not noble warriors. They are ordinary men given tools to stand between safety and chaos. Their equipment is practical, repaired again and again until it barely holds together. Once the weight of the weapon settles onto his shoulders, the day truly begins. Even standing still becomes work. Armour pulls at his neck and rubs his skin raw. The shield feels heavier with every hour. Yet he knows he must wear it all day, because an attack can come at any moment. There is no warning bell that says, "Prepare yourself." You must already be prepared. His first post is the gatehouse, the most vulnerable point in the castle. The drawbridge creaks loudly as it lowers over the moat, chains rattling like distant thunder. The water below is dark and foul-smelling, thick with algae and refuse. The gate itself is massive oak reinforced with iron bands, scarred by old burns and cuts from past battles. Above it, narrow holes wait to pour stones or boiling water onto attackers if the worst happens. Standing here, the guard understands something clearly. If enemies ever storm the castle, this is where blood will spill first. As the sky slowly brightens, villagers begin to arrive. Farmers push wooden carts filled with vegetables and sacks of grain. Women carry baskets of eggs. A shepherd drives a small flock of sheep. Each person must be stopped, questioned, and inspected. It is repetitive work, but necessary. The guard pokes through hay with his spear, lifts cloth coverings, checks beneath wagons. Smugglers sometimes hide stolen goods. Desperate men sometimes sneak in weapons. And sometimes spies disguise themselves as harmless travellers. Trusting the wrong person could doom everyone inside the walls. Hours pass like this. The sun rises higher, the mist burns away, heat replaces cold. His helmet traps the warmth until sweat drips down his temples. His hands itch beneath leather gloves. His feet ache from standing on hard stone without rest. He shifts his weight again and again, but the relief never lasts. There is nothing exciting about gate duty. It is simply endless waiting, endless watching, endless discomfort. Yet this quiet boredom is what keeps the castle alive. When food finally comes, it is plain and quick. A servant hands him a chunk of hard bread, a strip of salted pork, and a cup of weak ale. He eats leaning against the wall, chewing slowly. The bread is so tough it nearly cracks his teeth, but hunger makes everything taste better. He watches nobles pass by in fine clothes on their way to better meals inside the hall, and feels a brief sting of envy. Still, he reminds himself that many peasants outside the walls have less than this. At least here he eats every day. At least here he earns a small wage. For men like him, that is reason enough to stay. Later he is sent to patrol the battlements. The climb up the spiral stairs leaves his legs burning. At the top, the wind greets him fiercely, tugging at his cloak. From the wall, he can see the entire countryside stretching into the distance. Fields, forests, rivers, and the tiny village roofs below. It looks peaceful, almost beautiful, but he knows how quickly peace can shatter. A column of smoke on the horizon, a group of riders appearing from the trees, the flash of steel in the sunlight. These are the signs he must watch for, hour after hour, step after step along the stone path. By afternoon, exhaustion settles deep into his bones. Every movement feels slower. His shoulders throb from carrying his shield. Sometimes he talks quietly with another guard, just to stay awake. They share rumours, joke about the cook's terrible stew, or complain about the sergeant's temper. Small conversations are the only relief in a job built on silence and patience. As evening approaches, the castle changes again. Workers hurry inside. Animals are led through the gates. The drawbridge rises with a heavy groan. Torches are lit along the walls. Darkness spreads quickly, and with it comes tension. Night is when fear feels closest. Shadows stretch and twist. Every noise sounds suspicious. The guard takes his place on night watch, with a torch in one hand and his spear in the other. The flame flickers wildly, casting dancing shapes across the stone. A loose shutter bangs in the wind and makes his heart race. A rat scurries past and nearly startles him into raising his weapon. Sleep pools at his eyes, but he fights it. Falling asleep on duty can mean whipping, imprisonment, or worse. So he walks, back and forth, counting steps, breathing slowly, listening to the endless sounds of the dark. Sometimes he thinks about his old life, the farm fields, his family, the simple days before he carried weapons. Those memories feel distant now, like another world. Finally, deep into the night, his shift ends. He returns to the barracks, removes his helmet, and feels the sudden lightness of his head. His body aches everywhere. He lowers himself onto the straw mattress and closes his eyes almost instantly. Around him, other guards snore softly, just as exhausted. In only a few short hours, the sergeant will wake them again, and the entire routine will repeat exactly the same. There are no songs written about men like him, no legends carved in stone. Yet, without castle guards, without their sleepless nights, sore feet, and constant vigilance, no lord would be safe, no walls would stand, and no kingdom would survive. Quietly, invisibly, they hold the line every single day, asking for nothing more than food, pay, and one more sunrise. And when morning comes, he will rise once again, pull on his worn boots, lift his spear, and return to the gate, ready to do it all over again. The life of a castle guard is a constant rhythm of vigilance, cold, and exhaustion. Before the sun rises, before the castle stirs, he is already awake, bracing against the stone, the wind, and the weight of his armor. Hours stretch endlessly as he watches the gates, scans the horizon, and endures the discomfort that would break lesser men. There is no glory here, no songs, no carved monuments, only the quiet, unyielding duty that keeps walls standing and people safe. And yet, in this unseen labour lies true courage. Each step along the battlements, each glance at the distant forest, each patient hour of waiting is a battle fought without applause. They are ordinary men with extraordinary responsibility, holding the line when chaos lurks just beyond the walls. And when dawn comes again, they rise once more, ready to face the cold, the hunger, and the endless monotony. Because the castle depends on them, and they will not fail.